Khudamul Ahmadiyya Zindabad. We are the soldiers of Islam. We live to protect Islam. Khudam Zindabad. Khudam Zindabad.
Thank you very much. Now we have a lecture from our father and Professor Mashhu'd Adenrele Fashola. The lecture will be on Ahmadi Muslim youth, our impact on Nigeria's social and human capital development.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Chairman Sahib, representing Sadar Mashhu'd Ahmadiyya, Burkina Faso, Sadar Sahib, Mashhu'd Ahmadiyya, Nigeria, Mashhu'd Ahmadiyya, Nigeria, distinguished members of Mashhu'd Ahmadiyya, Nigeria, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mashhu'd Ahmadiyya, Nigeria at 50, enhancing our impact on social and human capital development. Introduction. The concept of human and social capital development. Human capital development refers to formal and informal education and manpower development for socio-economic development. Specifically, education and manpower development involve enhancing individuals with diverse knowledge in education institutions, with acquisition of technical and professional skills that may be acquired through formal training, learning process, and job experience, as well as capacities for survival and versatilities to cope with various challenges that face mankind within a society, community, nation, and the world at large. According to World Bank and the world economists, developing human capital involves other requirements, such as adequate food and nutrition, security and health care for the people, to create favorable environment conducive to effective and sustainable human capital development. Human Capital Index quantifies the contribution of healthcare and education to the productivity of succeeding generations. We also speak of 10 indicators of human capital development, namely, 1, employee competence, 2, job accountability, 3, professional tenure, 4, employee commitment, 5, employee cooperativeness, 6, employee skills, 7, employee creativity, 8, employee professional knowledge, 9, employee educational level, and 10, organizational tenure. The concept of social capital is an idea generally known to man, but formalized by sociologists. Basically, social capital refers to the potential resources that emanate from social interactions among individuals in a society or organization who share certain sets of values and willing to pool or sacrifice certain individual resources towards achieving common goals of the organization. Such social capital produces benefits to individuals within the organization through personal interactions, shared information, privileged contacts, or connections of members of the group. Such benefits may include job opportunities, access to professional training and skills, educational institutions, medical helps, and other social or economic benefits. The shared values, resource commitments, agreed common goals, and rules of association are critical in bonding individuals for deriving and developing social capital. Apart from bonding individuals together in an organization for deriving moral and material benefits described as social capital, two or more organizations with similar interests can link each other through what is described as bridging or linking in social networking. The internet and social media have enhanced the development of social capital. While social capital can bring positive benefits to members involved, it may produce negative impacts on others outside the group. Social capital with morally questionable shared values may produce impacts on individuals in the organization that society generally consider negative or dangerous for the larger society. When considering social capital, we should view its impact on the generality of the society, not restricting its benefits only to the individuals in the group or organization. This takes us to the problem of divergence between private and social interests, which can affect both human and social capital development. Complementarity and conflict between human and social capital. Human and social capital can complement each other by bringing in social and moral values into the development of human capital. Quality education and dedication of teachers and trainers. Quality education and dedication of teachers and trainers are social aspects of human capital development. Good relationships between students and teachers, workers and their employers, welfare packages to enhance healthcare and nutrition of employees, and community social responsibility of business concerns and security agencies all enhance the effectiveness of human and social capital development. However, there can arise conflicts between human and social capital. This is usually due to the divergence between private and social interests. Often, private, commercial, and social interests often diverges or conflicts with general interests of society, community, or nation. When trade unions and professional associations decide to fix their remunerations or raise their professional charges from time to time, it can lead to reduction in employment because not all employers will be able to pay the fixed remunerations, apart from the fact that will increase the cost of living for the generality of the people. If every trade union, professional organization, association of artisans and market women decide to be hiking their charges or prices, the inflationary consequences will lower the standards of living for the generality of the people, while it will render the economy internationally less competitive. A social organization that exploits general information, a social organization that exploits personal information and connections to obtain special favors, such as employment and political appointments, especially undue favors, it will be to the disadvantage of others that may be better qualified. So, positive human and social capital development should not pursue private individual or private social interests above the legitimate social interests of the larger society, community, or nation. The interaction of human and social capital development for national development. What should interest a divine organization like the Mashhu'd Adenrele is the impact of human and social capital development on wholesome national development. It will not be enough for us to have impact on human and social capital development where such capital development has not favorably impacted on national development. Of what use, therefore, will such human and social capital be? To this extent, we briefly review the objectives of national development and consider to which extent has human and social capital development impacted on national development. National development objectives can be summarized as follows. 1. Growth of per capita national income, that is, average income of the people. 2. Equitable income distribution, such that no one becomes poorer as the economy grows. 3. Balanced multi-sector economic development, such that all sectors develop, including electricity supply, health care, security, food supply, housing, transportation, water supply. Otherwise, people will remain miserable when essential needs such as food, water, housing, security stagnate or retrogress, while the oil sector alone grows. 4. Environmental preservation, such that growth does not result in deadly air, land, and water pollution and environmental devastation. 5. Social, moral, and spiritual development, so that the person, social, moral, and spiritual development, so that the people do not become more fraudulent, more corrupt, extremists, terrorists, wicked, and murderers. Human or social capital development that does not promote integrity, hard work, fairness, justice, and peaceful coexistence will ultimately destroy the whole society. The constraints to national socio-economic development and solution strategies. Constraints to national development and solution strategies. With proper grasp of national development objectives, we will examine the constraints to national development, whether human and social capital development constitute a guarantee to the achievement of sustainable national development. The constraints are as follows. 1. The interests of government policy makers. The interests of the government policy makers, e.g., president, governor, legislator. The interests of government policymakers often differ from the interests of the generality of the people. That's number one constraint. The people desire food, regular electricity supply, security, adequate health care, while the policymakers go ahead and squander money on mundane expenditures, neglecting rural and actual development, or health care and security. 2, government implementing agencies such as custom authorities, ministries, law enforcement agencies, the central bank that is charged with stability of domestic currency, often fail to execute government policies to the benefit of the generality of the people. Again, number 2 constraint is that government implementing agencies such as customs authorities, ministries, law enforcement agencies, the central bank, often fail to execute government policies to the benefit of the generality of the people. 3, political parties that will impose corrupt and sensitive rulers on the people by using thugs and other means to ensure that right-thinking patriotic leaders emerge. We talk of democracy, but political parties can give you 2 devils to choose from. You don't have the opportunity to choose who you want. The political parties will choose for you and impose on you corrupt and sensitive rulers or leaders by using thugs and other means to ensure that right-thinking patriotic leaders emerge. I remember when they wanted to compensate the Southwest because of the murder of Chief M.K. Abiola, they now say, okay, let Yoruba be the president. And they offer us Obasanjo Ofalaye. Now, I know Obasanjo was the sharp finance minister, was finance minister for Babangida during the social adjustment program that devastated the Nigerian economy. The man who was Minister of Finance during SAP, social adjustment program, was one of the candidates we choose. The other man, the Obasanjo, a military man. So, we have no choice but to choose between the two. We felt that maybe the military man may be better. At the end of the day, we did not get the man we wanted. But for God, God does not choose anybody. God chooses the most powerful among men. Another constraint is the incompetence of political office holders, especially with respect to misleading economic policies through Western brainwashing of our scholars. Many policies that we parade in different countries, they are policies designed to destroy our economy. But our scholars were educated in their universities and they have been brainwashed. And they tell us, practice market economy. When in our economy we don't have demand and supply. So, at the end of the day, we practice policies, they fail. Someone said, a former chief of World Bank, when he was in the World Bank, he could not say the truth. When he left World Bank, he wrote a book entitled Kicking Away the Ladder, Akaba. Kicking away the ladder. He said the ladder that developed countries of today used to climb to the top, they have kicked it away. And they are telling us to adopt some other policies that will never bring development. I cannot go into that detail. So the policy we are practicing today can never bring development for us. It cannot. They didn't practice that policy. For example, when Britain was industrial giant, Germany did not allow import from Britain to enter Germany. They blocked it. That's why German technology developed. Similarly, Soviet Union did not allow any commodity to be imported into Soviet Union. None. If you are Mr. President, you can only ride a car produced by Soviets, like Moscovich or Lada, so that their technology can develop. But in a situation where you say you throw your borders open for imported goods, you can never compete. You can never compete with the giants already. You are a toddler. You want to compete with someone who's an adult. So, the policies we are practicing in developing countries can never bring development. And you can see that those who develop today did not practice those. Even China blocked its border when it was developing. Now that China becomes strong technologically, it opens its border for competition. So all these countries, when they were developing, they didn't practice liberalism. Another constraint is unfavorable external influence. Unfavorable external influence, especially neo-colonial masters that use their military, industrial, financial power to influence governance and continue to exploit led-developed countries and plunder their economies. You know, in economics, we say you have several variables, okay? There's a variable we call exogenous variables. That variables you can never control. You can never control them. And they are very powerful in deciding your economy. Like, for instance, price of crude oil, price of cocoa, many things you don't control in your economy. But you also have other variables that are internally exogenous, variables controlled by government. Okay? That you cannot control. You cannot control government expenditure. Like, for instance, it was said that the government asked central bank to give them ways and means. That is, federal government asked the central bank to give them credit. That is printing of currency. Okay, they said they approved about 8 trillion, but they got out 17 trillion naira. They are trying to make your currency useless so that they can have the money to do whatever they do. So they create inflation, and inflation is tremendous. Rapid inflation. When inflation is tremendous, your currency loses power of storage. You know, money has various functions. We talk of money as store of wealth. Okay? You cannot say you want to be acquiring yams, tons of yams, thousands of yams, but you can keep your wealth in currency. Now, Nigerian currency is bedeviled by rapid inflation. Therefore, that currency has lost its power as store of wealth. Nobody wants that currency to store wealth because your wealth will be eroded. Therefore, I prefer a currency that has stable value, like dollar, pound sterling, diamond Dutch. That is why, if you are a billionaire, you'll be stupid to keep your billions in naira. Because after a year, you will lose about 30% of that money. So it is rational for you to keep your money in stable currencies, like pound sterling, dollar, diamond Dutch. Okay? But the central bank, who has the role of stabilizing your currency, has failed to do so. Their major task is to make your currency powerful, and have failed. And I used to tell them, we produce the pages in central bank. If you cannot make naira stable, resign. You have failed as a monetary policy agent. And that's a major problem. Apart from the fact that those who stole money, when they steal money, when there's corruption, you cannot control exchange rate. When there's corruption, people will steal money, convert it to foreign currency, and take it out of the country. And as long as you cannot stop corruption, looting of domestic resources, you cannot check inflation. You cannot control exchange rate. We are just fortunate that the exchange rate has come down from 1,800 to about 1,000 naira. But you see, as long as people can steal money, they will buy dollars with it. They take it out of the country. And even if you make plenty of money, it will not be rational for you. It will not be sensible for you to keep it in naira. You want to keep it in dollar, pound sterling, or some other currency. So until we check inflation, and that's the role we have appointed central bank to do, and have failed. They've spent trillions of naira, earning salaries, the job given to central bank to stabilize your currency, they have failed woefully. And we know what is going on. Now, how can human and social capital development address these problems? How can human and social capital address those problems? Impact of Majlis Sudan Ahmadiyya, human and social capital development. Majlis Sudan Ahmadiyya Nigeria had made tremendous efforts to have impact on human and social capital largely within the Ahmadiyya Muslim community of Nigeria and achieve only demonstration effect on the larger Nigerian society. The Mashhu'd Ahmadiyya, over the course of 50 years, has succeeded in promoting Muslim education through the establishment and management of many nursery, primary, and secondary schools all over the country, especially the Southwest. They have regularly, annually conducted Islamic vacation courses across the country for academic, moral, and spiritual training of school children. This activity has been emulated by other Muslim groups. In addition, they have been active in career counseling and guidance for prospective students of tertiary institutions, as well as assisting in free coaching to prepare the students for school certificate examinations, UTME examinations, or joint of JAMB, and for post-UTM examinations conducted by universities. Besides, they have also served as teachers and resource persons in Jama'at secondary schools in the north, such as Ahmadiyya College, Kano, Ahmadiyya Community Secondary School, Ara, Ahmadiyya College, Umaisha, Ahmadiyya Community Secondary School, Onda, all in Nasarawa State, and in many other primary and secondary schools taken over by the government across the country, especially the Southwest. Thus, they have made a lot of impact on human capital development, not only for the Jama'at, but also for other Muslim groups. On account of the moral development orientation of the schools, the Majlis has had significant impact on social capital development. The Mashhu'd Adenrele Nigeria, by its shared moral and spiritual principles and its common objectives and goals, is itself a very good example of an organization designed for social capital development. The organization has been copiously involved in youth conventions and symposia for the moral and academic training of youth, for exemplary demonstration of community and social services, including regular blood donations for decades by many of its members, community sanitary services like cleaning drainages, clearing refuse dumps, and organizing free medical camps, and participating in free medical camps organized by other branches of the Jama'at Ahmadiyya, such as Mashhu'd Adenrele and Humanity Force International. The annual convention, Ijtema, are carried out in various parts of the country in a rotational manner in order to have impact on the whole nation. During such conventions, they invite dignitaries from all walks of life, from other youth organizations, religious organizations, as well as government functions, political leaders, security agencies, and traditional rulers. They will march through various avenues and streets of the cities and towns where the conventions are held, chanting messages of peace, love, and unity of humanity. Apart from all this, the Majlis have engaged in many outings for campaign for peaceful coexistence and moral reorientation of the youth, such as campaign against crime. They have also been engaging in regular public preaching, expounding the brotherhood of mankind and unity of humanity, and presenting to the world the peaceful teachings of Islam as against the extremist violent approach of jihadists, emphasizing that theirs is jihad of the pen, self-sacrifice, love and compassion, and not compulsion, and not holier than thou arrogance, as representing the true teachings of Islam and practice of the Holy Prophet of Islam. May peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. By all these activities, the Majlis has succeeded to a reasonable extent in having impact on human and social capital development and in achieving exemplary demonstration effect on all youth organizations in the country. Indeed, the Majlis remains the largest active youth organization in the country and have played and are playing leadership roles among the youth organizations in the country. Allah. Zindabad. 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 Allahu Akbar. Enhancing the impact of Majlis on national human and social capital development. Nevertheless, the Mashhu'd Adenrele Ahmadiyya Nigeria has a long way to go in having remarkable impact on Nigeria's human and social capital development. The organization has to redouble its efforts in this regard by exploring other novel and attractive avenues for this purpose. I recall our Amir Sahib addressed us that for Ahmadiyya to have impact on governance, you have to partake in politics and be exemplary leader. Now, when I told Huzur several years ago about corruption in Nigeria, Huzur said, you can't stop corruption in Nigeria until sincere Ahmadis take over governance. So what Amir said today is that you are encouraged to participate in politics. When you get there, it should be exemplary. It's going to be a challenge, and you will face challenges. I told someone, if you want to be a true, sincere leader, you should be ready to die. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, when he was challenging the idolaters of Mecca, he was ready to die, and they tried to kill the Prophet 1,000 times, but they failed. So, you know how many youths backed the Holy Prophet and sacrificed their life to ensure that Islam was established. Those who survived the Holy Prophet, they were all largely youths who fought those wars. So, we are here not just to play, but to sacrifice. Mahdi alayhi salam said, for the formation of Islam and mankind, sacrifice is necessary. I pray that Mashhu'd Ahdenrele will have that zeal to be ready for that sacrifice. One may suggest the following areas, among others, for enhancing the impact of Mashhu'd Ahdenrele on human and social capital development on the whole nation. 1. Forming various professional and artisan subgroups. Forming various professional and artisan subgroups for job soliciting and job creation through cooperation in pooling of resources, information, connection, skills, and experiences in various sectors of the economy. This should include especially technical services, trading, transportation, crop farming, poultry, fishery, food processing, where modern production and communication technologies are learned and utilized. This will require bonding and linking with various social groups with similar interests, objectives, and principles to pool ideas and mobilize resources within and outside the Jama'at Ahmadiyya, either in a mutually beneficial relationship or to benefit from charitable mentoring, wisdom and guidance from noble leaders, exemplary leaders. This requires strict honesty, hard work, steadfastness, and trustworthiness from those championing various groups in the organizations. It doesn't have to incorporate everybody. You have to be selective. Okay? Those who do it have to be selective. The leadership of the various groups must be exemplary and ensure that their members exhibit a high resolve, dedication, and discipline with respect to the objectives of social group. Thousands of youths that are idle do have enormous potential for creativity and productivity, which require youth leadership to mobilize and convert the human social capital inertia continually into kinetic, productive energy and prosperity. But when someone is in extreme poverty and deprivation, he or she can hardly think or be positively creative. Such people will easily engage in criminal or immoral activities to survive. Through job solicitation and creation by social groups of various professional categories, where resources and ideas are pooled and excellent job performances are ensured through mutual vigilance and collective monitoring and evaluation, a lot of underemployed or idle youth will become highly productive. Their creativity endowment will be ignited and result in prosperity and fulfillment. It will not happen overnight, as it will require steadfastness and some time to build up reputation. In job creation, people learn on the job, gain from each other's skill and practical experience, which will enhance human and social capital development. 2, independently of job solicitation and creation, various groups in different professional areas and artisans can be formed to monitor occupational and business activities of Ahmadiyya youth to ensure that members of the Majlis are very reliable in doing business with. They are very reliable in doing business with them or hiring them for any technical job, occupation, or trade. When people realize that doing business with Ahmadiyya youth is much safer and reliable than any other group, they will become renowned and gain popularity. They will thus create substantial impact on the nation within a short space of time. I recall that Mashhu'd Adenrele Fashola of late memory, of blessed memory, may Allah be pleased with him, complained at one time that he gave a job to some Ahmadi to do some job, decorative work. They charged a lot of money and did shoddy job. But I gave to non-Ahmadi and they did better job. Dr. Habib, the former neighbor Amir for North, complained about the same thing. He gave jobs to some Ahmadis, they charged a lot, did shoddy job. He gave to non-Ahmadi, they did better job and charged less. Now, we have to be vigilant. We must be the best. We have to monitor each other. So what I'm saying is that there must be groups that will monitor each other, okay? So that we will not allow any group to spoil the name of the Majlis, of the youth. So when we now see some youth misbehaving, we have to deal with them and check them so that they will not, they say one black sheep or one bad egg is enough to spoil the whole basket of eggs. There's one time I had an appointment with a youth to meet me somewhere to check a motorcycle that I want to buy, and told me he was coming in 30 minutes time. I waited for almost 2 hours, he didn't show up. Okay? And so the Majlis who contacted says, is this the kind of person you make your friend, who promised 30 minutes, had no excuse, and come show himself in 2 hours? I could not go to school to carry my children. So Ahmadi must be the most trustworthy. When we are Boy Scouts, we used to say, a Scout's honor is to be trusted. Okay? You must be better than Boy Scouts. And a Boy Scout is always prepared. You must be the vanguard of the best of youth. So within your group, monitor each other. If any youth that's doing any artisan work, whether bricklayer, plumber, mechanic, whatever it is, and is misbehaving, you have to deal with him. Okay? So that it will not give you bad name. There was a missionary that complained about one bricklayer of the Jama'at. He said he wanted to come and do a job for 2 years. He got money, he did not show up. So we should not tolerate indiscipline, dishonesty within the Jama'at. So we need a group for various professional groups that will be a monitoring agent. We will now check people. Okay, you gave a job to this man. Did he satisfy you? Did he do the correct job? You cannot believe I gave a dress to one Ahmadi tailor. He did not complete the dress for 1 year. When he brought the dress to me, I said, I don't need it anymore. The same thing happened with another in Lagos. I tell me with another tailor in Apata. For months, you know, give my dress. I said, okay. And they now asked me to come and give me some dress. I can't give you another dress. So we must be strict and make sure any Ahmadi worker, professional, technician that's not performing well, we should report him to the president, to certain president. We should not tolerate indiscipline or dishonesty within our fold. That will help us. And I used to say that Ahmadi should be the best. You must be the best husband. That means, okay, if you want a good husband as a woman, go to Ahmadiyya community, you have good husbands. Okay? If you want a good worker, go to Ahmadiyya and get the best among them. So this is a challenge that within a short space of time, we should have impact on the nation. Look at Japan. You don't need to, the whole world knew that Toyota is the best product, most reliable product when it comes to cars. And it doesn't take too much time before the reputation spreads to the whole world. So that's why, independent of job creation, we need various groups in different professional areas and artisans to be formed to monitor occupational and business activities of Ahmadiyya youth to ensure that members of Majlis are very reliable in doing business with or hiring them for any technical job, occupation, or trade. When people realize that doing business with Ahmadiyya youth is much safer and reliable than any other group, they will become renowned and gain popularity. They will thus create substantial impact on the nation within a short space of time. Number 3, apart from the 2 areas above, personal, professional, and social connections can be beneficially exploited. Ahmadiyya had good contacts all over the world. We have circuits all over Nigeria, so we are well connected, and we should exploit this connection. So apart from 2 areas above, personal, professional, social connections can be beneficially exploited. This can be done by the well-connected and trusted leaders and members of the Majlis Kudam who will reach out to respectable organizations and noble individuals known to them that can financially and morally support youth economic activities. Such well-connected leaders and members of the Majlis will provide the guarantees and assurances that such support will be well utilized. This is where connections matter by those well recognized in society and community. In all those endeavors, it should be noted that Allah's support and victory requires certain conditions that can be deduced from the Holy Quran, chapter 33, Surah Ahzab, verse 46 to 47, which reads, O Prophet, indeed we have sent thee as a witness and bearer of glad tidings and a warner, and as a summoner to Allah by his command, and as a radiant lamp. Ya ayyuhan nabiy, inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira. Wa da'iyan ila Allah bi idnihi wa sirajan munira. You know, Allah does not permit you to go and preach to people unless you are sirajan munira, a light bearer. You must be a witness for God, that when people see you, they have faith that God exists. You must be a bearer of glad tidings. You must be a warner. Then you must call to Allah with the permission of Allah. You cannot rescue people without Allah's permission. And before you can get Allah's permission, you must be upright with Allah. You must be Sirajan Munira. You must be a light-bearing lamp. So that's the condition for those who want to change the world. So those members, and as a summon to Allah by his command, and as a radiant lamp. In addition, the promised Messiah ﷺ declared that sacrifice is necessary for the reformation of Islam. So those members that have to come together for championing such activities must be very special people who should be strictly honest, hardworking, ready for sacrifice for reformation of mankind. Their arguments, opinions, and speeches will be considered sincere and reliable. Hence, they will be respected by the people on account of their being trustworthy and exemplary in conduct. Being most pious, their prayers will be the most acceptable and they will be the most successful. Mahdi alayhi salam said, I'm number 1 believer. God had told me to declare I'm number 1 believer. I'm the most pious of all mankind. Today, my prayers are the most acceptable. The same thing happened with Mashhu'd Ahmadiyya. Of all youth organizations, your prayers must be the most acceptable because you are the most pious. This will spur other youth groups to emulate you and thus substantially increase your impact on the country's human and social capital development. Conclusion. In conclusion, it is not enough to achieve impact on human and social capital development. It is necessary that such capital development is beneficial to humanity. At the end of the day, your objective is service to humanity. On account of divergence between private interests or private and personal interests on one hand and social community interests on the other hand, an individual or group can employ its human and social capital to defraud or exploit society and so bring ruin on them and themselves. So we need to inculcate the spirit of honesty, selflessness, trustworthiness, hard work, rather than cut corners and cheat the people through abuse of our skill or expertise. We have seen how chartered accountants and other professional experts, senior advocates of Nigeria, senators, the elderly have looted the resources of this country and plunged the nation into extreme poverty and deprivation, in spite of our huge human capital and social capital resources that have been developed in various professional, social, and religious organizations. So, the Majlis Ahmadiyya of Nigeria must be in the forefront of integrity, hard work, competence, and honesty in all economic activities such that they become outstanding model for use in Nigeria and beyond. Although the Majlis has done a lot in the promotion of human and social capital development within the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, as well as having some notable impact on other Muslim and youth organizations, especially in the Southwest, much is still required to be done in order to have remarkable, widespread impact on the nation. This should challenge the integrity, the ingenuity. This should challenge the ingenuity of the Majlis in embarking on novel and attractive strategies that address the areas where the nation is terribly lacking. Some areas have been suggested that have to do with job creation, solicitation, and training for profitable youth economic activities, creativity, professional discipline, reliable service delivery, and productivity, as well as exemplary and honest conduct in business, all of which demands the spirit of sacrifice. When the Majlis demonstrates successful leadership examples, in these areas, its impact on Nigeria's human and social capital development will be very remarkable and widespread. You should take consolation in the fact that it's Allah that will reward you. Don't look for worldly reward alone. The reward with Allah is tremendous. Ahmadi alayhi salam emphasized that reward tremendously for righteous people. Perhaps, needless to say, the Majlis and various subgroups should at every step during its meetings and commencement of any program or project engage in fervent prayers to seek extraordinary assistance and blessings of the gracious and merciful Lord. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.